Now we return to Understanding Spirit with your host, Alan Coxs.
Hello, and welcome back to Understanding Spirit on the ParaMania Radio Network. We've had a few technical difficulties. Some skeptics might say, well, that's all down to technology. Annie and I would probably say the gremlins have got in there. But anyway, with a bit of luck, you're still here, Annie.
I'm still here, yes. Absolutely. And I'm coping with the technology, I'm proud to say. I haven't managed to get my guest name changed, but I'm doing pretty well, Alan.
You're not doing too bad. You're not doing too bad. You've actually got into the chat room, so that's...
Absolutely. Yeah.
After about the 6th appearance or 7th appearance as my guest, you finally got into the chat room.
And I might even have worked out how to change my name. We're only nearly at the end of the show.
Oh, you've done it. You've done it. No, you're there on the chat room. Right? 544769 is now known as Annie. So you're official. I do apologise, everybody. My throat seems to be getting worse. You know what it's like, don't you? And you pick up a cold, and you feel okay, but it kind of just lingers for weeks. And I have been muting my mic actually while we've been on. So, but sometimes it just gets there. You just can't stop yourself, can you? So I do apologise. You know. So, do you find when you go on these trips to Ireland that people come away with a different perspective? Do you find that it helps people to have a much bigger understanding of spirit or of even themselves?
I guess a short answer would be yes, Alan.
Right.
But you know me, I can't resist a long answer.
Well, we can't have a short answer. We've still got about another 20 odd minutes to go.
What I do find is that certainly people come away wondering, thinking, how did that happen? What was that I just felt or saw or heard? And there's a kind of process going on, because initially when you get contact from spirit, your first reaction's kind of a bit of shock, what's happening. Your next reaction is, no, this can't be happening, that can't have happened to me. And then your mind has to play about with it a bit. And depending on how much you go on to experience, it can make a difference. For instance, if someone comes along to an evening of mediumship and gets a message for the very first time, they might go away thinking, well, yeah, they said things that I don't know how they did that. I don't know how she got that information. But that can fade. That can easily kind of go to the back of the mind as somebody works it through and says, no, well, maybe I was imagining it. Maybe she didn't really say that. And it can fade a little until the next time. The beauty of going off and doing a little adventure is that you can be having those experiences one after the other, that it's almost like the evidence becomes too big to completely dismiss or completely forget. So people tend to go away, if they're not already perhaps decided, yes, there is something in it. The people who have come along because they're not sure what's in it tend to go away with a lot to think about, and a little argument going on in them that actually they can't dismiss what's happened easily.
Have you found that you've had perhaps somebody who finds it perhaps too difficult at that time to take in, and they feel as if they have to step away from it? Has that happened at all?
It certainly happens quite often. As a teacher of mediumship, I'm very much from the view that everybody has this ability. Everybody can connect with spirit.
Yeah.
We can all do it. Some of us will only ever be average. Some of us will be better than average. It's like football. We can all play football, but there's very few of us going to be David Beckham.
Yes.
So, what can happen, and what does happen, is that people get as much as they can take at that time. They have as much experience as they can at that time. Then they need to pause and process it. So people sometimes go away 6 months, 12 months. I mean, look at me, I went away for 12 years. And then you gradually come back to, I've got to understand what that was about. And I think it's the curiosity that brings you back, saying, I want to check that out again, see what happens this time. As you know, I've spent over 35 years being fascinated by and working with past lives, and it's something that I don't feel you dive into fully believing, oh yes, I've had thousands of past lives. It's something that I feel you have to go through a process and take your own position at various different times, and certainly in the past life stuff, I started out completely unconvinced and sure that the book I'd just read was somebody making it all up and spinning a good story. And over the years, with things that have happened, I've had to go back and look at that and say, is that really the right viewpoint? Is that what I really believe? And it's worked forward to where today I would say I believe utterly in past lives.
It's
not.
I'm sorry, Annie. No, sorry, Annie. The reason why I was just going to come in is because that's very poignant in a way for me. I've felt probably the last few days, a week, or what have you. What is it that I believe in? What exactly am I doing? Going back to how I felt when I first started on this journey, if you want to put it in a way officially, when I made the decision, and different stages I've gone to. And as you probably know, I look to Sai Baba amongst other gurus, and we've got a statue of Sai Baba at the side of our fireplace. And I think I've mentioned this before. At times, although it's a fixed statue, his hand will move and that. And I found myself looking at him this evening before I came on air, about an hour before. And Anne said, "What are you doing?" And I was sitting forward in my chair and looking, and so I'm just looking at Sai Baba and talking to him. And as I was talking to him, I could see his hand very slightly just moving. And and that actually, it was almost like a subliminal message coming through saying, "Alan, you've needed to check in. Think about what it is that you want to achieve. You are on the right journey, but sometimes you do need to check in and make sure that all is right. And is that what you find that you do sometimes? You check in?
Yes. What I feel today may not be what I feel in 5 years' time. It may not be what I believe in 5 years' time. I hope my level of understanding of what spiritualism, spirituality is, I hope my level of understanding increases. That to me is the special part of this journey, to be able to go back and say, you know, that question that I thought I'd got the answer to about what I believe, can I just run it by you one more time? I just feel that I'm back to the guides who I work with have always stressed that they love questions, because through the debate of answering a question and getting more questions, my level of understanding and their level of understanding increases. And that's true of any kind of teaching, any kind of philosophy you put out there. As it's subject to questioning, it evolves, it grows. I mean, Einstein's theory of relativity has grown with the addition of the questions that have led us to quantum theory. And I have no doubt whatsoever, quantum theory isn't the answer. We just don't have the understanding yet. But maybe in 20 years' time we'll be talking about something completely different and saying, yeah, well, that was good for that time, that stage of our understanding. And I'm back to the nature of your show, the name of your show, Understanding Spirit.
I love that title, and Anne came up with that, because when I first went onto radio some years, and I said, the first station I went to, it said, I want a title for my show. And Anne said to me, Understanding Spirit. I said, yeah, that's it. So I thank Anne for that one. So it does make you think, and I know I ask questions, and that's my role, you know, and we talk and we have a chat, and like Chad, our producer, said before, you know, one of the breaks, he likes his shows to be like a chat, you know, not like a formal interview, and I feel by talking, me as the host, I learn things from it as well. You know,
Yeah. I think that's what it's about, isn't it, Alan? It's having the debate.
Yes.
Having the freedom to be able to say, well, you know, how does this work, and what's that about, and why do you believe that, and I think I believe this. It's that wonderful debate that each person who's in that debate can take away what they can usefully use for their understanding. It would be so boring if we all thought the same and felt the same. If everything was fixed and absolute, what would be the point of bothering to be here?